Limpopo COGHSTA MEC Basikopo Makamu is scheduled to visit 13 families left homeless after a veld fire engulfed their houses in Phalaborwa, Limpopo. The fire is suspected to have been triggered by scorching temperatures spread from bushes to nearby residences, resulting in the destruction of many properties on Saturday. We take you now to SABC News reporter Pimani Baloyi, who will be speaking with the MEC. Pimani, a good morning to you. A tragic story coming out of Limpopo this weekend.
Good morning, Naledi. Indeed, a very tragic story coming out of the province this weekend, where we saw yesterday families devastated, stating that had it not been for government, they wouldn't know where they would have slept on Sunday and today, because essentially they lost everything, including their property, their clothing, and also their food. Naledi, as we were stating, this fire broke out on Saturday afternoon, and it spread and caught up about 14 properties, one of which was a guest house, but 13 were homesteads for 13 families where children today, we don't know how they were able to go to school because their school uniform was caught in that fire. So today, Naledi, government over the weekend has been scrambling around trying to figure out what sort of temporary relief but also permanent relief can it offer to the affected families, where today we saw the MEC of COGHSTA here in the province, Mr. Basikopo Makamu, coming to the area to sort of engage with the families, but also engage with stakeholders about how can they best assist these families. Right now we're at the Phalaborwa local municipality, where the MEC has been in a briefing with officials from this locality to find out so far what have they found out from the families before he himself can personally go to homestead by homestead to engage with them and find out what sort of support can he offer to them. The MEC was in a briefing inside this building, and he has been brought to us so we can engage him about what he has found out so far. But also, yesterday the municipality told us that they want this area to be declared a disaster area. The MEC joins us now, Naledi. MEC Nkomo, for joining us. Thank you so much for speaking to us. First of all, you were part of the team that ran here alongside the executive mayor of the Mopani district municipality, Mr. Poleshai. You are in a briefing now. What are some of the preliminary investigations? What have you found out preliminarily right now so far?
Thanks very much, Pimani. I must indicate that I'm with the local mayor and the executive mayor here, which were here exactly at the time things were happening. First, I must commend them that I have seen that we can work together as government, because on the arrival, the executive mayor took over and coordinated stakeholders, private people, other sector departments, your social development, home affairs, but also the private tourism teams which are here to accommodate the victims. And that's what we are doing now, is to do the assessment. What we can tell is that almost 14 houses, including the guest lodge, has burned down. We are receiving information currently that we might have lost one person. We still have to do the assessment. We'll visit the area and see. But what I can say is that government has been able to be on the ground and support. Of course, I must say the executive mayor briefed me that water was available to can support. We received a lot of support from other private people, your Woodsprit Watch and Farm Watch. But the fact that I can say is that the response for the disaster needs to be improved, but I think we did our best as government.
Speaking about the response, the Mayor Malaji yesterday told us about, there were delays in getting sufficient human resources, but also a chopper had to be borrowed from the private sector to be able to assist. What are some of your lessons coming from this to ensure that in future you respond quicker than now?
Well, disaster will always be there, but what is important is to plan the mitigation part of it. I think we might have caught, but the fact remains that at the time we got all these things, the police called, the executive mayor called, and everybody was activating. Who could not have responded. You will know that this September, fire is where it can quickly run due to the wind that is blowing at the time. So I may say that we might not have been there, but immediately all the sectors and stakeholders were taken to on board. They were already on the ground trying to respond.
Briefly, I understand, MEC, you might not have any further details. That this one life that is suspected to have been lost, do we know how that could have happened and if they were inside the house during the fire? Is there any information around that as yet?
We don't have the information. That's why I said it's a suspicion that they could have been. As we finish the briefing, we'll be able to visit and get all the details of about what transpired. We'll be able to brief you once we have done that.
As we wrap, MEC, you are moving to the families. What can they expect? I understand the executive mayor, alongside the mayor, they've offered lodging facilities temporarily, further assistance to the families. What would you be bringing them?
Look, like I said, we will look at it at the 3 term. The immediate ones, which they did, they provided food, they provided accommodation. We will look at the medium one. You know, I'm also responsible for human settlement. We will be able to look at what is it that we should be able to provide, because there is a grant that we should be able to look at to accommodate people in that situation. But I will also share with my colleague MEC for Lidet, what is it that we should be able to do to support the guest lodge which has lost much, because obviously there's work that will be lost if it not get to be assisted. So we are going to offer them. That's why we're meeting as all stakeholders here to put into one support that we'll be able to do as government.
Thank you so much, MEC Makamu. Naledi, that is MEC Basikopo Makamu, who is speaking to stakeholders here at the Phalaborwa local municipality, trying to map a way forward in terms of how do they assist families that have been displaced due to this fire, Naledi.